Hi, I'm Caroline Rosari, licensed clinical social worker. Today I want to talk to you about minding the gap. What is said and what is heard and what is missed in between. So if you think about a translator, somebody says something in a different language that you do not understand and you go to your translation app and it may come up with something absolutely ridiculous. This is where if there is a big gap in between what is said and heard, we get defensive, we can get resentful, we just are disconnected from each other. We filter out what we hear based on past conversations we've had with our partner, based on our histories in terms of what conflict was like when we were younger, based on just things that have happened in our life, in our relationship, how we've been hurt. And the idea really is that you need to close that gap between yourself and your partner. So one way to do that is just to slow the conversation down. Somebody says something, check it out. This is what I heard you say. Is that actually what you said? Sometimes it might be yes, that's exactly what I said. Sometimes it's not. The other thing to do is checking in. What story or meaning are you making up about it? If somebody has a big sigh, are you taking that meaning as they don't care about me, they don't want to be with me, they're bored with me? Or can you actually check it in and be like, hey, I just made up this story that you don't care when I heard you sigh. Maybe it's true, and maybe you're totally off. And so it's another way to close that gap. Another way is what I consider just that translation. Hey, I'm hearing this. This is the translation of what I'm hearing you say. Is that true? Similar to the first one where you're slowing it down and repeating back. But really noticing where those filters are, checking it out with the other person so that you can actually close that gap, know what's being said, and then keep the conversation going. Apologies. Apologies are a big one. The problem is people don't want to apologize, or they don't want to acknowledge what they actually did to create the situation, that they had a part and some responsibility in the situation. Apologies can really create some connection. It's not an instant connection, but it starts to pave the road. So the mistake is when you say, I'm sorry you feel that way, because you are taking yourself totally out of the equation and you're not part of it. It's all about the other person feeling something, and really what's not said is that they shouldn't be feeling that. It has nothing to do with you. Another one is when you apologize and you add in way more information. I am sorry that I said that, or you heard me say that to you, but really that wasn't my intention because I was trying to explain something else to you, so really you're wrong. Does not land because the apology is just completely negated. So a couple of things when you're giving an apology. One, you need to acknowledge your part in the situation. You do not have to agree with it, but you do need to acknowledge it. So if my partner, my spouse, thinks I called them a jerk, and you can add in some more colorful language, but if they think I called them a jerk, I did not actually call them a jerk, put it in parentheses, keep that in your head. It does not need to be said. If I can just acknowledge that and say, I am sorry you heard me call you a jerk. That must have been really hurtful to hear me call that and say that to you when I'm somebody that's supposed to love you and you hear me calling you that. Period. It acknowledges that I said something that hurt them. It's about the impact, not the intent. So acknowledge your part in it, what the impact was on the person you're apologizing to, and then put a period and do not add anything else. Zip those lips, be quiet, done. Routines kill sexual connection. So if you think about responsibility, jobs, kids, work, stress, that all is desire killer. So part of it is around the context and actual intentional effort. Sexual connection thrives on novelty. And when you have long-term relationships, that thrives on security and stability. So to create and to have that sexual connection really thrive in long-term relationships, a couple of things need to happen. One, schedule it. The Gottmans talk about this all the time. Schedule a time to have some sexual time. It could be, some people say it's our laying down naked time. Schedule a time where there is the space to feel sexual, and then you can use that time ahead of time to connect foreplay. Think about, gentle touches with each other, or passing by and giving each other a wink, or giving a kiss on the neck. Scheduling it can actually be a positive thing. A lot of people have this idea about sex being spontaneous and I want to rip their clothes off like we used to. That's fantastic. I hear that honeymoon phases happen in the beginning of relationships where everything is new. It is a scientific fact, and that dwindles over time. When you are in a long-term relationship, it is much more about the situational time, where the desire versus arousal, the arousal might need the situation to create that desire. Think about doing things a little bit differently. Have some sensual times, make those small changes so that you can actually have a thriving sexual relationship in a long-term relationship, because it is possible. One thing that really gets in the way of couples and communication is what I consider the well-placed period. So a tricky gentle startup is, I feel like you are on your phone all the time and you never want to spend time with me. And what I want is for us to have a date without any phones, because really you're on your phone all the time when we go out on dates and I ask you to put away and then you don't and you keep staying on it. And there's something important that you really need to do right now. And it just goes on and on and on. And the part that I actually wanted, which was, I want to go on a date with you and have your attention, is completely lost in everything else that was just said. So keep that in your head. Keep it in parentheses. You can still think it, but keep it in parentheses. Just shh, don't say it. And what is the actual feeling? What is the feeling and what is it that you do want with a period? I feel angry, I feel frustrated, I feel sad, I feel lonely. And what is it that you want? I want to have a date where we don't look at our phones. I want to have the kids go to bed earlier so we can have some time at night. I want you to buy me flowers. I want you to send me a little love note over text during the day. Period. Do not add on anything, just put period and let it be and see what happens.